Okay, so I have more Swiss chard from the Secret Garden, and I want to use a combo of dried mushrooms and some king oyster mushrooms, which are fresh. But the reason we are doing the dried is because we're going to use the liquid as a kind of base flavoring. So I'm going to do 1 3/4 cups of stock. It can be any stock. And in this case, it's beef because that's all I have. And it doesn't actually matter what kind. So we're going to do 1 1/2 cups of beef stock and then 1/2 cup of water. And we're going to bring that to a simmer. And we're going to add here, I don't know, how many ounces is that? This is in grams. Oh, it's 14, it's half an ounce. It's 14 grams of dried mushrooms. These are porcini, chanterelle, portobello, and oyster. And there's not that many in, which is why I kind of want to, I want to use the fresh ones as well. And all of this is going to become part of the base flavor of my chard and wild mushroom ravioli. I made the dough for the pasta last night because I felt like it. And it'll save a little time and a little mess today. So what we're gonna do, and I'll skip ahead, is we bring this to a simmer, we add the dry mushrooms, and then we let them steep for 20 minutes. Okay, folks, so I separated the leafy green tops of the Swiss chard from the stems, as one does, as you've seen me do it repeatedly. And I'm just gonna cut off the kind of brown cut ends and throw those away. And for this, because it's ravioli and not a tart or anything else, we're just gonna do a dice, because these are going to go not only inside the ravioli, but as some garnish. Okay, so I can finish that up. Well, let's finish it now. May as well do it so we can get it off our plate, so to speak. Okay, and this is just so you can, I don't know if you can see it, but the dried mushrooms are still steeping in the hot water. Well, it's hot broth, and it should have a glorious flavor. Okay, let's just finish. Have no fear. I can put that in a bowl, and then we're going to strain the dried mushrooms out of the liquid, and we're going to cut them to an equal dice. All right, let's do that before we do anything else. And this is the knife I have for that. So I have so many knives, and in fact, I did not sharpen them before Thanksgiving. I got too involved in preparing everything, but this knife's nice and sharp. Okay, so the nice thing about these is they're nice and plump, and they can go right in the bowl with the stems because they're going to saute together. So we have our liquid, we have our chard and our mushrooms. We've got the leaves, and since I have your attention, we may as well do a rough chop on the leaves because those will be steamed down as well. And you know, this is the pack that came from the Secret Garden, and they're super fresh and lovely. But you remember how little you get in the end when you steam them down. So I don't have to cut them super small. Ooh, there's more. Hold on. Let's just get, you know, what looks like too big to eat won't be once it's just like spinach, you know, it cooks down fast. So we're gonna cook this down. Sorry, we're gonna chop it down and put it back in the bowl for later, and we can move on to our next step. So, see you in a moment. PPS, I'm worried that the onions and mushrooms are getting a little bit burned or overcooked. So I'm adding some of that reserved stock, and that will help wilt. And at the end, we want to see 0 liquid in the pan, so we know it's ready to cool down and become a filling. Okay, loves, before this entire, see, it's quite beautiful in a way. You know, it's got a lot of hearty looking beauty to me. So, and there's still pieces of the fresh mushroom that are nice and juicy, but there's hardly any liquid left. Well, there's basically no liquid left. That's what you want, no liquid. But before it entirely cools down, it's actually almost entirely cool. We want to add, it actually doesn't really matter. We want to add Parmesan, maybe 2 tablespoons, and we want to crisp this up so it's tiny pieces. Remember, this is a filling. Add our prosciutto, our crispy prosciutto. Now my hand's all dirty, but this is easily then mixed. Voila, voila, voila. Just do the mixture. It's okay that it's lukewarm. Could be cool because you know, you're going to be boiling and warming the ravioli. So that's the filling. It's quite gorgeous, I think. Yum. And that has to cool down, and we'll be making our pasta packets. I'm hand making them. I made the dough for the pasta last night, and we'll be rolling it out in a few minutes. Yum. So hey my lovelies, this is the pasta portion of the video. It's a little tricky to show you what I'm gonna be doing in my space here. I have the dough, 1 portion of egg pasta dough. Well, just basic, I guess you call it basic pasta dough. It's been chilling in the refrigerator, but it's not hard. That's because I added a few extra egg yolks, or a little bit of extra egg yolk, because it wasn't coming together. So I'm just going to divide this into 8ths. Sorry, this is a little cumbersome because my machine can't attach. It can't attach to the oven. It has to be out here so it can attach, because I use a hand machine. Anyway, It's very easy to make eighths. You make halves, like that. And then you make quarters, like that. And then you make eighths. And each one of these eighths is going to make a sheet of very thin pasta. And those are going to then be cut into my ravioli. So I'd like to show you one, because I think you've seen me make pasta before on my YouTube channel. So I'm just gonna put these here, and put a towel on, some flour and a towel on top to keep them from drying out. And we're just gonna roll this piece out a little bit. I have a brush for brushing off extra flour, but it's not necessary. So we're just gonna start at 7 on the machine. That's the thickest. And we roll through at 7 twice. You always start with the thickest, and you always start with it twice. Oops, my thing fell off. Oh, and I realized I didn't even show you that because I have to move the camera. So I did it once. That's 7. I don't know how many millimeters that is. This is an Italian machine. It doesn't say, but most machines don't say. So you go out and you have it done now twice at 7, and it's a little sticky. So I'm gonna just flour it a little bit, and then I'm going to put it to 6 and do it once. And you know what? I'm gonna do the fat side first because it's a teardrop right now. And we want it in the end to be a sheet, a quite rectilinear sheet. Not necessarily perfect, but I think if you start at the top, there. Now, that's 6. And then we're gonna do 5. I'm gonna put the fatter end in first. And you'll see how this goes. And I'll do all of them like this. So, now I'm at 5. Oops. By the way, this is using 00 flour, also on the board. Not just in the flour, not just in the pasta. 00 is the finest farina you can get. Now we go down to 4. Okay. And you can see how, let's just make sure we have it going here. Okay. This wooden board is not attached to the oven, and so it's not going to behave beautifully. This is where we start getting, where you really have to help it. One hand and pulling, well, not pulling, just helping, and it gets very long. That's 4, and then this is 3. Okay, and you can already see through it. You can't see through it on camera. Well, yeah, you can't see through it. Okay, so we're just gonna keep going. This is 3. This is thinness 3. Level 3. Let's call it a level. Niveau 3. Or whatever, whatever it is in Italian. It gets very thin very fast. And here's where I have to make a choice. I'm just gonna cut it in half because I don't have a 10-foot bench. Are you still able to see it? I don't know. Anyway, when these are done, you just put them on use the same 00 flour that you did in your, down to 2. Don't forget, I'm talking and I forget. Down to, they get very thin and you need to put them somewhere. So you put them on a tray with 00 flour, the same 00 flour that you made the pasta with. And now we go down to 1. And I'll be doing this all night. So you may not see the finished video. But this is 1. It kind of went in crazy. It didn't go in. Well, we'll just let it go. Let it do what it does. There's nothing you can do about it. It gets a little twisty, and you pull it out, and it's thin as, you can see through it. Okay, so that's 1/2 of 1/8, and that goes on the tray. This is my tray. I'm gonna cut this piece off because I cannot deal with it in a tiny kitchen. I'll use that. Okay, so there's actually a few strips underneath. I'm stacking them. All right, just see, this is very delicate, but there's flour, they won't stick. Okay, friends, so that was a lot of rolling out, and I have a lot of very thin sheets of pasta, like many, probably 50. Here's some more, and I keep them with some flour and separated by parchment, or in this case, Silpats, silicone sheets. But those are gonna be, I'm not gonna finish all of them tonight. I'm just going to, sorry, coming back. I'm not gonna finish all of them tonight. I'm just gonna make 5 generous size square raviolis with the filling we made tonight. We, meaning you and me, or you and I, since you and I made them. Okay, so we got, I think I need another sheet. I'm gonna do, what's that size? I think this would be a nice size ravioli. Let's see, I think that's 3 inches square. Yeah, that's 3 inches. So I'm just gonna mark it. I'm using the curvy section of my pastry wheel, and I'm just gonna eyeball it and hope that it's straight. It's not straight. Well, that was a mistake. Womp. So next time, I'm going to mark it 3. Let's not use the crooked side. Let's make one even side. Okay, roughly. And then we're gonna do 3, 3, and that's gonna be top out at 3 here. Get rid of that. So for 4, let's say 4, we'll make 4 raviolis. Let's get rid of this side. Still not even. It's a little late to get all measury, but let's just use our eye. You have to if you're in the kitchen a lot. That's gonna be 3. That's gonna be 3. We need 10 in total. Well, we need 8 if we're just gonna make 4. I think that's fine. Okay, so that's 4. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to, you know what, I don't think this other sheet is going to work. So let's measure 3 out of that. And this can be used for tortellini or something else. Put it back on my sheet. That's a really ugly cut, so I'm going to start over. But I'm going to use this. That batch of pasta was really meant to make linguine and so on, so I made the whole thing. I have a lot of filling, but I didn't really ascertain the batch size. I just felt like rolling it out was the best idea while we were going. So let's just make a straight edge here as best we can. And then measure 3, 3, and 3. Again, 3. Let's see. 3, 3, 3. I'm just trying to get this done before midnight so I can eat. Anyway, the thing is, this can all be done with the filling and everything, and then frozen on the sheet pan with the filling and everything, and just once they're frozen, put into freezer bags. And you know, I kind of wanted these to be 4. I think I was right the first time, but anyway, whatever. This is just for a demonstration, and I am going to eat them. Okay, there's a lot of flour there. Don't really need that. My brush will come in handy. I'll be right back because now we're going to fill them, and we're going to crimp them, and then we're going to boil them, and we're going to make ravioli and brodo. So basically, I'm just making 4 right now. And later I'll make however this makes, which I think is 24. And I have lots of pasta. And I'm just gonna put sort of 1 big tablespoon of trying to get everything in there. Trying to get the leaves, the mushrooms, the prosciutto. Maybe I'm making this too big. We'll see. So I want to get some, you know, as much of the good stuff as possible. Well, it's all good stuff. Tastes good. Then we're gonna water our finger down the edges. Actually, I'm gonna use a brush just to make it faster. Water, water, water. Water, water, water. Place this on top, like that. And gently flatten the edge. Get the air out before you flatten the edge. Can you see that? I don't know if you can. So that's 1. I'm making them square. I like them square. So I'm just gonna do, this one seems rather filled. So I'm gonna do that. Put the water around the edge. This has a lot of flour on it from the board. So it's gonna need the water in order to stay together. And basically, I'll just keep doing this all night. But before I do it all night with all this filling and all that, pasta, I just want to show you how it looks as a dinner. So I'm squishing together. I'm puffing out the air and squeezing at the ends. And because it's such a little piece of green is sticking out, and I'm not gonna go in there and screw with it. So let's do one more. Then we're gonna cook them. Not cook them, cook them. Cook them means grandmother in Cree. We're not gonna cook them. We're gonna cook them. Sorry, I just learned that today. Anyway, so yesterday I learned that. Okay, so we're gonna squish out the air bubbles, and we're gonna flatten the edges of our square rustic ravioli. And then I'm gonna show, and then I'll do that with all the rest. Okay, folks, we're getting to the fun stage. I have boiling water. I have my broth, which I reserved from the mushrooms, plus the thyme, plus the chard stems. I forgot to say, don't throw it out. Keep it. We kept straining it for a reason. And that's warmed at low. I actually dry roasted some walnuts, because I didn't save chard stems for garnish, mainly because I wanted almonds for garnish. Now we're gonna put in, a good amount of salt in the water so it gets to a roiling boil, boils water. That would be about 2.5 tablespoons. You have to imagine all my sheet pans covered in beautiful ravioli. In fact, my sheet pans are covered in thin sheets of pasta with towels and everything on top because I'm going to finish making them later. But we're going to put them all in, and when they come to the surface, there's only 4 because that's for my appetizer. And when they come, they're going to sink and they're going to come to the surface. And when they do, they'll be done. These didn't really sink, really, did they? But they have come to the surface. It takes less than a minute for them to cook through and heat up. And I feel like I should have turned the water down so I could tell. But that was such thin pasta, you know it's done. You know it's done when you see it. I salted the water. I didn't salt anything else. The cheese has salt. Oh, here. I don't want them to overdo. Here, I just want the water out. Oops. Ouch. Okay. I want to put them straight into my bowl. Okay. Like that. My serving bowl. The water's not, I need to fluff them so the water comes out. I'm not worried about the water because they're going to be served in Brodo, in broth. Turn it upside down. Put this one right side up. Turn that off. Put this aside. Anyway, the salted water, the prosciutto, and the Parmesan are all salty. And now I need a little thing here. It's known as a ladle. And we're going to ladle the broth on. The broth that we've been preparing all night. Just like that. And I'm going to use my hand. I hope they're not too hot. I'm going to crisp them. Like that. They were already chopped. But I want to crush them. And I think that's really pretty. What do you think? Smells really good. Yum.